Hi everyone, welcome to my video about animal sign forecast in BaZi for 2026. My name is Ivan from House of Entrieri, or rather an AI avatar of myself. I am a BaZi, Qimendunjia, Feng Shui and Yijing consultant. In Chinese metaphysics, there are 12 animal signs in total, and each year, one of them takes the lead. In 2026, we enter the year of the horse, and more specifically, the fire horse. So today, we'll talk about the snake animal sign. Let's break it down. 2026 feels different for the snake. If the past year felt like you were constantly being tested or under pressure, that intensity starts to fade. In its place, you get something more useful. Control. This is not a dramatic year. Nothing extreme, nothing chaotic. It is more of a refinement phase. What works stays and becomes stronger. What does not fit starts to fall away. So instead of reacting all the time, you get space to think, adjust, and move more deliberately. Now, when it comes to career and money, this is actually a steady year. You have support from wealth and honor, heavenly doctor, and the heavenly chef star. What this means is your work remains consistent, income is stable, and growth comes in a gradual way, not explosive, but reliable. If you have been waiting for recognition or better pay, this is a good time to bring it up. The environment is more supportive for that kind of conversation. You may also find that taking on new responsibilities or slightly uncomfortable roles helps you grow. You do not need full certainty before you act. Sometimes progress comes from stepping into something and figuring it out along the way. If you are running a business, visibility becomes important. It is less about working harder behind the scenes and more about being seen correctly. Positioning, branding, and how people perceive your value can make a difference this year. There is also support for turning everyday skills into income. Things that feel normal to you may actually be useful to others. Sharing knowledge, teaching, or creating content can open opportunities. Now, another important theme this year is reputation. This is where clan house and heavenly officer charm come in. People are not just looking at what you achieve, they are also paying attention to how you do things. Consistency, fairness, and integrity matter more. This is the kind of year where small decisions shape long-term perception. So cutting corners might give short-term benefit, but it usually comes with a cost later. On the other hand, doing things properly builds trust over time. Now, one of the most important areas this year is health. Not because something serious is happening, but because your body is asking for attention. The sickness charm are more like reminders. If you ignore rest, push too hard, or overlook small issues, they become more noticeable. Fatigue is probably the main thing to watch. Poor sleep, low energy, recurring discomfort, these are signals, not problems to ignore, so take them seriously. This is also a good year to go for checkups, get proper advice, and handle things early. Rest is not a weakness this year. It is part of your strategy. If your energy is stable, everything else becomes easier. Now, mentally, this year can feel a bit different. You may notice that your perspective is changing. Things that used to make sense may not feel the same anymore. People may behave in ways you do not fully understand. This is not necessarily a problem. It often means you are seeing things from a different level. At the same time, there are a few things to watch. Small mistakes can happen more easily when you are tired or distracted. Losing things, forgetting details, making small errors. So slow down when something matters. There is also a tendency to stay busy without real direction. You can be doing a lot but not moving forward. So from time to time, pause and ask yourself if what you are doing is actually useful. Remove what is not. Now, in terms of relationships, this is a quieter year. Not overly dramatic, not overly intense. Some relationships become more stable and grounded. Others may slowly fade if they are no longer aligned. There's no need to rush decisions here. Sometimes distance or misunderstanding comes from fatigue, not from real incompatibility. So give things time. Communicate clearly and make decisions when you are calm, not when you're tired. Now, I have explained the 4 pillars in a previous video where your animal signs could appear. The term BaZi literally means 8 characters. These characters are derived from your birth date and time. translated into four pairs of Chinese elements called heavenly stems and earthly branches. When we talk about the snake in BaZi, most people only focus on the zodiac year. Now, depending on where the snake is in your chart, the focus shifts slightly. If it is in your year pillar, your social circle may change. Fewer but more meaningful connections. If it is in your month pillar, your career continues steadily, even if recognition feels slow. This is a foundation building phase. If it is in your day pillar, relationships become more stable, but also more honest. You may reassess what you actually want. If it is in your hour pillar, your attention moves toward long-term planning, investments, future direction, and building something sustainable. So overall, 2026 is not about speed. It is about precision. It is about choosing what matters, managing your energy, and building something that actually lasts. When you do that, progress becomes steady, repeatable, and much more reliable. This is how growth holds. That is the outlook for the snake animal sign in 2026. I'll be continuing this series and covering the remaining animal signs so you can understand how the year plays out across the full cycle. If this was useful for you, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps more people find this content, and it allows me to keep sharing deeper insights like this. I'll see you in the next one.